started.
All right. So
Cool.
this is the popular side. That's the name of our new podcast.
Yep.
What is the popular side? Why are we here? What are we doing? So first, Yinka, we should introduce ourselves, right?
I think we should. I think we
Okay.
should.
All right. You start first.
Okay, so my name is Yinka Yusuf. In another world, I probably would have been a footballer because I love the game. I played the game for a while, but the love for the game is still active. It's still there. It's still fresh. But unfortunately, we have families to feed, and if your talent is not good enough to get you on the pitch, you need to do something else. So my day job, I'm an accountant slash auditor.
Mhm.
But in another world, yes, I love football. I'm somewhere in Lagos,
Mhm.
Nigeria. Um, Aki unfortunately is on the other side of the world, right? We are like 8 9 hours apart. But I'll let him introduce himself first. Then we'll talk about the genesis of this, how far or how long ago we started this kind of chats unofficially on just informal platforms, and why we decided to bring it on a podcast for everybody to listen to and hear. So Aki,
Yeah. So I can't. Okay. I would. There's no world that I would have been a footballer. There's.
he has two right legs.
It was never going to happen for me, but just like Yinka, I love the game. We played the game every day growing up.
Yep.
Some of us way better than others. Yinka really could have been a professional player. I could never have been a professional player, but it is what it is. Yinka lives in somewhere in Lagos. I live somewhere in the DC area in the US. But like you said, we've always had these conversations. There was a time we had it on Facebook.
Yep.
Whenever Arsenal was playing,
No,
the
let's even
Facebook.
go way back to 90s, early 90s.
Even way
School.
back to
Yeah,
1991 when we first met in school.
yeah.
Every World Cup, I remember the '94 World Cup. I think our first big football debate was how well Italy was going to do at the '94 World Cup. This man was in love with, was it Daniele Massaro, maybe? Was that his
Yeah, yeah.
first name?
That was the whole Italian team.
Yeah, you were just in love with Italy. And I thought
Yeah.
they were terrible. I thought they were terrible and would not do well. And we argued back and forth and back and forth. And I was right. And that was the beginning. 1992 AFCON,
Yep.
lots of debate. We were
Yep.
12, by the way, at this time.
Yep. We
Uh,
were. We were.
so it's just always been like that. And then, of course, with technology, even being apart, we'll have Facebook arguments that will go on for days. And then with the advent of WhatsApp, lots and lots and lots of
I mean,
football debates.
it kind of exploded like maybe 5 6 years ago
Yeah,
when WhatsApp. Yeah.
yeah,
Uh, and I
yeah.
mean, the discussions were extensive and at times funny, at times ridiculous. So we thought we should share our fun and our ridiculousness with with the
With
world.
the rest of the world.
Yes, yes, absolutely.
So obviously we love the game. We love football. We love, for our American audience, soccer. We will call it football for the purposes of this podcast. But we love other sports.
That's a topic we might pick up on in the future
Yeah,
episodes.
exactly.
Because that's what you call football actually is in football. But yeah,
I understand that. We will have that conversation. But we also
yeah,
love other sports, right? Yinka, you're a big fan of many other sports. We both love tennis.
yep, we do.
Do you do car racing? Not really
Uh,
my thing.
Formula One.
Yeah, not really my thing, but that's your thing, one of your
Yeah,
things.
yeah, Formula One. Yeah.
Okay.
Uh,
Track and field.
yep,
Yep, for both of
yep,
us.
yep.
NBA, both of us.
Definitely. Both
NFL, both of us.
both of us. Yeah.
What else is out there? But I think our biggest sport for both of
Don't
us
do
is still
don't do
football.
cricket though.
No, not cricket. I watch
Well,
baseball. I don't know if you watch baseball, but I watch baseball.
nah, it's too similar to cricket. I'm not a
Okay.
fan.
So the funny thing is, we actually learned baseball in school. Sorry, cricket in school, and played cricket in school, and we both hated.
Ah, I hated it.
So, yeah.
Mr. Coyote, wasn't it?
Well, Mr. Ino, Mr.
It
Ino.
wasn't Steiner.
We
Was it
had to
not?
design. Yeah, just we had to design our own
Was it
bats.
Steiner?
Was I know?
Ah, yeah.
Yeah,
Ridiculous.
we had to design our own bats.
Yeah, it was
But anyway,
ridiculous.
that's the introduction. This is who we are. This will be fun and light and informal, and we'll talk about current stuff going on in the world of sports,
Yep.
but we'll also talk about big topics that may not necessarily be current.
Mm-hmm.
There will be some debates. We won't always agree on everything.
Yep.
We probably won't agree on much.
How much?
We'll try to do this every week. Like Inka said in in his other world, he's an accountant. In my other world, I'm a lawyer. We both have jobs and whatnot, but we'll do this for fun and see where it goes. What else do we want to tell our friends?
I think that's it. We can just
All right,
get
let's
on
get
straight
into it.
into it. Let's get into it. Yeah.
Okay, so biggest thing going on in our world right now is AFCON. For those who
Yep.
don't follow, that's the African Cup of Nations. That's the
Yep.
continental tournament in football. Um, and the second round games are going on right now. Nigeria played yesterday, so we want to start with Nigeria. The good, the
Yeah.
bad, the ugly, and the ridiculous. All right, so I'll turn it over to you.
Yeah. So the tournament has been a surprise actually. Um, the I mean, we've had probably north of probably 14, 15, 16 games so far, I think. And we've only had two games with goalless draws. It's been back and forth, it's been attack defense, it's been
Yeah,
teams that don't respect anybody. They don't come with a game plan to curb your attack. Their game plan is to attack,
it's the score. Yeah,
is to score. And that has always been the fun of African football. Several giant killers. We're just joking before we started off that there were three Guineas. Luckily, two of them are out now. But these are countries that don't really have star players, and they're giving headache to countries that have big players in Europe. For example,
yeah,
Ghana is out. Ghana is out. Cape Verde. I'm sure their best players probably playing in the Cape Verdean local league. They beat Ghana in the first game.
yeah.
So the competition has been fun. It's been unpredictable. If you don't bring your A game, you will find out easily, right? And those that haven't brought their A game, they are back at home right now. So it's been a fun tournament. Some star players, have come up. Some interesting stories abound. One of the teams, Equatorial Guinea, their captain is 34, 35 years old. Is the current highest goal scorer of the tournament. He actually plays right back in the second division team in Spain. When it comes to Africa, he's playing up front as a striker and is doing the job. Unfortunately, they lost today, so they're also out of the tournament.
And now there's talk of biggish European teams trying to sign him, which will be
Absolutely,
interesting.
which will be
Uh,
interesting.
so my first comment is what the hell is a Guinea, and why are three African countries called Guinea, and why haven't they changed their name? I feel like if you're named after the equator and you get independence, you should change that damn name. So Equatorial Guinea, what the hell does that mean? Regular Guinea, and then Guinea-Bissau. Why do we have three African countries with the same name? But that's a topic for another day.
But there are quite a number of African countries that actually have that. So Ivory Coast is, that's
Yeah,
the name we were given. That's not the original name. Ghana was always called
Ghana
Gold.
changed theirs.
Ghana changed theirs, right?
Yeah.
The origin of Nigeria is still up in the air. A lot of people say it's Niger area that got merged into Nigeria and stuff like that, but there's
Burkina
really
Faso changed their name from
they
Upper
changed
Volta.
their name. Yeah, they did.
Yeah.
So frankly, you're right. Some of those names should have changed by now, but But
Yeah.
that's why we have three Guineas. Yeah.
Yeah. So
Three Guineas.
that was always interesting to me. Um, Super Eagles.
Yep.
So, my opinion, we looked pretty terrible in the first game against Equatorial Guinea, country of 1.6 million people with a fake name. Uh, and Nigeria looked terrible. For me, that was unacceptable. What did you think?
Terrible is an understatement. We
Mm,
looked. It was pathetic. Yeah. We before the game we played yesterday. That was the only game where our defense conceded. I mean, we also didn't concede yesterday, but that first game, it was a shock for the Nigerian team.
yeah,
They didn't expect those guys to come with that level of, you know, that guts, that attacking mentality. They thought those guys would look at them and be like, "Oh, you guys are the big super egos," give you
yeah,
that respect that you think. But we soon found out that we were in a battle, a major one. If we did not equalize immediately after they scored, the game could have easily ended 1-0, or if
yeah,
not even 2-0.
yeah,
So the Nigerian team, and subsequently you will see that we struggle from an attacking standpoint. I think it's just the last game that we kind of gelled a bit. But also, I think Cameroon, which was the country we played in the
terrible.
second round of 16, I think Cameroon is complete. We can't use cost words here, can we?
No, let's not.
Cameroon, they're terrible.
They were
We
not
don't.
good. This was so. I think you and I talked about this before when we found out we were gonna face Cameroon. Right?
Yeah.
I look at the history of it. Cameroon has been in the finals. I don't know how many times. 7 times, I think. I don't know. They've won 5. 3 of
Hmm.
those 5 times they beat Nigeria. 84, 88, 2000.
Yeah.
84 was a complete beatdown, 3-1. 88 was
Mhm.
tight, 1-0, I think. And
Yeah.
then 2000 was a draw, and then they
2001.
beat
If
us in
that
penalty.
VAR in 2000,
2002. Yeah,
if that
2002.
VAR in 2002,
Yeah, it might
that
have
might
been
have
different.
been
It
different.
might have been
That was
different.
the one that Kepa's penalty went off the crossbar and
Went
should
inside,
cross the line. It crossed the line. It should have been a goal, and the linesman
they
said
ruled it
no.
out.
They ruled
Yeah.
it out. Yeah.
Yeah, but and we've beaten Cameroon since then, including 2019. But I wasn't confident. But then they showed up and they were truly, truly, truly awful.
They were.
The Cameroonian team had, I think, no shots on goal.
Nah, they
No
had
shots
no
on goal.
shot.
Yeah, no shots on goal in 90 plus minutes.
Yeah,
That's really hard to do in a
it is.
knockout in the knockout stage. That's really hard to do. They looked scared. Um, the Nigeria had a goal disallowed that should have made it 1-0.
Yeah,
And it looked like Cameroon was about to give up right after that goal. And even when it was disallowed, you could tell Nigeria was going to score again. Only
yeah,
one team was really going to score.
yeah,
But I think our goalkeeper is terrible. The one that went off, and the guy that replaced him was even worse. So that I'm not confident about. What say you?
So the goalkeeper has not given me any reason in this tournament to say is either bad or good. He's not been
Okay,
tested.
it's not
He
been
hasn't been
tested. Yeah.
tested, frankly, right? Because the defense has been solid,
Mm.
and the formation that the coach. We'll talk about the coach briefly. The formation that the coach has been playing is, I mean, it surprised me. I mentioned this to you
Yeah,
before. I said all through qualification was playing 4-4-2.
yeah,
First game of the tournament, he switched to 4-3-3. Second game, 3-4, 3-4-2-1, or 3-4.
yeah, or 3-5-2, whatever. Yeah,
Yeah. So he changed his formation, right? But the defense has been very solid. Defense has been very solid. They shielded the goalkeeper, so you can't really know whether the keeper is solid or not. Okay. However, what is obvious, completely obvious, is that our midfield is non-existent.
this is true.
It's like from defense, flip the ball over the defense. Even see the 2 goals we scored yesterday, right? It's Osimhen hustling, getting the ball off the Cameroonian defender, laying it up for
Great
Lukman.
pass. Great pass, by the way.
Great pass,
Great
by
pass.
the way.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that was awesome.
Laying up for Lukman. Lukman almost cuffed it, but we're
Yeah,
lucky. It crept into the net. Thank God for that. Then the second goal was also an assist by a defender.
by the defender. Yeah.
So midfield is just there to hustle and mark. They are not doing anything creative. Iwobi, in my opinion, has been it's not
Yeah,
been
let's talk about it, Wobie. So on social media, I've seen, I think it's the most divisive of the 13, 14 core players for the Super Eagles, right?
yeah. Mhm.
Yesterday, I saw some people say, oh, he had a great game because he was everywhere, covered every blade of grass, right?
Mhm.
And I heard others say it was terrible because he couldn't sort his feet out when he had the goal at his mercy. So, what is the real problem with Iwobi? I'll start because I think the problem is Iwobi is a central midfielder. I think you pointed that out. Is a ball carrier, is a ball carrying midfielder that is being told to be the brains of the operation. He's a brawn of the operation kind of guy, right? Not the brain of the operation kind of guy. Amokachi was on our broadcast here. I don't know which one you watched,
Yeah,
but
he was on
yeah,
here too.
and every game Amokachi has done of the Super Eagles is always talking about we need a Wilson Oruma, we need a
JJ
JJ
Okuda,
Okocha, and I'm
we need
like,
Henry
man,
Wood. Yeah.
we're 20 years past those guys. Why are we still looking for a JJ Okocha or Wilson Oruma? Haven't we moved past that stage? What do you think?
So in the first game of the tournament,
Mm,
he played, I said they played 4-3-3. It was like
mm,
the central attacking midfielder in that first game. Well, the games that followed, the second and third game, he played central midfield.
mm.
And it was obvious that what the coach had in mind was our attack was largely going to be initiated by the wingers.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's why you
Uh,
push them up. You push the right and the left backs up. Yeah.
Absolutely. So he's saying let's have overloads on the wings, left wing, right wing. Let's see how we can then get crosses out to Osimhen. That's the strategy. And I think I don't like the coach, but I'll give him some credit for that because it was obvious that Iwobi lacked the creative juice in this African setting.
Uh-huh.
If you were to be playing in Europe, where people are not as, I don't want to say hardworking, but for lack of a better word,
Yeah.
hardworking, and
Yeah.
they don't hustle as much because you're controlling the ball, five people are on you.
Yeah.
So he's really, really, really struggled. So if it had been a different tournament, maybe a World Cup where we're playing European countries, where they'll be like, you play your game, let me play my game, let's see who can beat each other, right? Maybe Iwobi might have some wiggle room to show his creative tendencies. But right now, it's not happening for him at all.
Yeah.
At
So
all.
two things for me, right? So on Iwobi. So one is, I was thinking about the Liverpool, the typical Liverpool team on the club, because this is
Yeah.
pretty much their strategy. It was,
Yes.
until this season, we don't have any creative midfielders, so we're just gonna
Even
run
even
everything through
this
the wings.
season, even
Yeah,
this season, they
even
don't
this
have.
season, yeah.
Yeah. So they
you
brought
know,
Soboslai and McAllister, who were attacking midfielders in their former clubs. They got to Liverpool. What are they?
they're just sitting. Yeah,
They
they're
just
sitting. Yeah.
yeah.
So Liverpool runs, the left and the right back straight to two dynamic wingers, and that's where all the goals come from.
Yep.
And so just three hardworking midfielders, shield the defense, run. Not a lot of balls going through the middle. So there's one way to do it. Liverpool won 4 trophies doing it.
Yep.
But then back to Iwobi, don't we have anyone on the bench who could play that? So I'm thinking of Aribo. Aribo is a little more creative. He's not as strong, maybe not even as good as Iwobi, but is more of a creative player than Iwobi. So why not him?
So you will say Iwobi is slow, won't you?
No, he can move.
In terms of pace, I'm just telling you, it's not
Yeah,
the
yeah. I mean,
fastest
it's not
player.
the quickest. Yeah, it's not the quickest.
Aribo is worse.
I see.
So if you're playing in Africa, you have to have a bit of pace. I'm sorry.
Mm,
your I mean, unless your talent level is at the Kanwako level,
mm,
where you make up for that lack of speed with incredible ball control,
mm.
incredible vision, right? Iwobi is not on Kanu's level.
No, no, no,
So
of
he
course not.
still needs, he wants to carry the ball, but you're carrying the ball with strong, fast midfielders. You're not going to breeze past them. They'll stop you. They'll stop you, which is exactly what's going on with Iwobi. Now, going
That's
back
on
to the
TV.
team in general, going back to the
Mm,
team in general, the way it is, the way the team is structured, our wingers should be the star, should be the stars of this team, right?
mm.
And you saw yesterday, Lookman had a very, very good game.
He did, he did. He did his thing. He did his thing.
And
Two
even
goals.
yeah, two
Well,
goals.
one and a half goals, but it is what
1.5 goals.
that
Probably
first
one
one
was quarter because
almost was not a
the
goal.
keeper could have saved that actually, but
Yeah, yeah,
we'll
yeah.
give him two goals. So Moses Simon, on the other hand, was a major disappointment, and I just couldn't understand why he got the nod ahead of Samuel Chukwueze.
So
Frankly,
I feel the same way. So in mitigation, I like you. I don't love this coach. We'll have a whole episode on European coaches in Africa and why we're still doing that in 2024 and
yes,
why not the best European coaches. We're bringing in European coaches that you and I, who watch a lot of sports, I've never heard of. That's
I've
that's
never
crazy.
heard of.
That's crazy to me, right? I
Well,
think,
we knew the Ghana coach though, right? And
yeah,
see
we,
what.
we knew the Ghana coach, and and but it is what it is. But
Yeah.
when I'm thinking of Chukwueze, for example, I think in mitigation, I think this man is saying I'm taking speed over creativity, which is a little crazy for me. Now, both of them are quick, both of them are rapid, but um, Simon is like a different level of speed, right? And he has some creativity. Chukwueze, a lot of creativity, not as fast or quick as
Mhm.
the other guy. So I don't know, but I think on merit it should be Lookman and Chukwueze. You
I
get
I
the
think I think so
yeah
too. I think so too. And it's balanced, right?
yeah
So if you have wing backs, the wing backs will overlap. So it's best that your wingers invert.
yeah
If
yeah.
you get what I mean.
Chukwueze does it naturally. It just
Exactly,
inverts
because it's
naturally.
a
Yeah,
left-legged guy playing on the right.
playing on the right. Yeah,
Same thing with Lookman, the right-legged guy playing on the left. So
yeah,
naturally, I mean, if you're on the pitch and I have a defender with me, if that left back is overlapping, right, the defender is already confused. He
yeah,
doesn't know whether he should go with the left back or the right back or stay with me,
yeah.
right? And that gives you multiple variations to that attack. But when you have Simon is busy crippling Olaino's, efforts on overlap because he doesn't invert. He still goes byline. He wants to go byline, which leaves
Beat
Ola.
everybody.
Ola
Yeah,
doesn't have any space to overlap, right? And talking of Olaino, for
yeah,
that
yeah.
guy
Oh my
has
gosh.
been the player, Nigeria's player of the tournament, right? I think he's not going to last long at Fulham. Sorry, he's in Nottingham Forest. Sorry, he's at Forest.
Is that first? Yeah, yeah, yeah,
Forest. I don't think he's going to last long at Forest. I think it because he can play right back, left back. Is not as two-footed as Santi Cazorla, but he is two-footed. I mean, he's quite ambidextrous. I love him. He's had a fantastic tournament, and I don't think he's going to stay that long in Forest. A bigger club is going to come for him.
So this is not going to be a very interesting podcast if we keep agreeing with each other and everything. But I agree 1,000%. Olaino, for me, it's been Nigeria's player of the tournament. It's not even
Yeah,
close. It's been the player of the tournament. I feel like he can overlap. He can hang back. He can play fullback. He can play wing back. He can is like a you know modern wing back.
yeah,
I've been very impressed with him, and he's
yeah.
strong. He's quick. He can cross. He can cut in. Yeah, I'm with you. Totally agree. All right, so let's wrap up our AFCON review.
No, no,
What do we?
but
Go on.
before you do, so
Yeah,
let's put some names on, who do you think is going to win it all?
Oof. When is
Based on
Senegal
the
playing?
performances so far,
When is Senegal playing?
Senegal plays Cote d'Ivoire tomorrow, I think.
Okay. If Senegal beats Cote d'Ivoire, Senegal will win it all. Right. When I look at the bracket, I think, let me look at the bracket. So one thing for our audience, we don't have a research analyst or anything, so we'll be doing our own research. So,
Yep.
so I'm looking down right now because I got to figure out who is playing whom.
Same.
I think I said Cote d'Ivoire because when we saw their first game against Guinea-Bissau, now one we thought Guinea-Bissau would be a little better than Guinea-Bissau actually were, but that midfield, that Ivorian midfield, I think on paper are really, really, really good. I didn't see their 4-0 capitulation to Equatorial Guinea, so I don't know what happened there. I didn't watch that game,
I
but
did.
yeah. So I don't know what happened. I never thought their attack was great, but that midfield I thought was solid. If that
Yeah.
midfield plays well, they could stifle Senegal, even though to me, Senegal is the best team. I think Morocco is really good as well, but I don't know where they are on the bracket, so I'll turn it over to you while I try to find them.
So on the right side of the bracket is Mali, Burkina Faso, Senegal, Cote d'Ivoire, Egypt, DR Congo, which is ongoing right now. Then extra time, it's 1-1 for now. Then you have Equatorial Guinea and Guinea, who played earlier on today. Guinea won.
Guinea
So
one. Guinea is not going to do anything. I'm not worried
Guinea is
about
not going
that.
to do anything. So on that side of the bracket, I agree with you. Senegal, if they beat Cote d'Ivoire, and I know the home advantage will
They'll beat
be,
Mali. They'll beat Burkina Faso. I'm not.
they
Yeah.
should beat Mali and they should beat Burkina Faso. And this
They,
Egyptian team is not good enough to cause any.
without Salah, I don't think Egypt would do anything. So
Even even with Salah, Akin,
oof.
they've not been good. They've not been good.
But when I think of Senegal's defenders, so Senegal is another team. Like I just feel like for this tournament, they have the depth that other people don't have. Mane, it's like Mane has found the fountain of youth.
Yep.
I don't know if you saw his goal against Cameroon.
It's
That's you're not supposed to score this kind of goals. Like it's just
yeah.
unbelievable. Like it's like it passed it into the net, and Port Onana was just that was unbelievable.
Yeah.
He knows when to run. He knows when to chill. He knows when to be combative. He knows when to lead. What's the name of their big center back that was at
Koulibaly?
Chelsea? Koulibaly. Nah,
Yeah.
you were never a fan.
I love them at Napoli, right?
Just not at Chelsea.
I don't know what happened at Chelsea. I think he had a terrible time at Chelsea, but at Napoli he was a beast.
Yeah,
He was a beast.
and
I
in
think
Africa is a beast.
they have the most complete team.
Yeah.
If Ganagay of Everton doesn't get to start in midfield, that tells you Papa Sarr at Spurs is there. I mean, they're good.
Yeah.
They are
And then
good.
I saw, don't they? Wait, who does Nicholas Jackson play for? That's Senegal. Oh
Yeah.
my goodness!
He was on the bench. He's not
I know.
starting.
I saw him coming. I saw him coming their last game. I mean, he plays for Chelsea, so people are gonna think he can't play, but the kid has something.
Yeah, he does.
And for this level, for AFCON level, it would start for most teams, in my opinion.
Yep. He will.
He got like injury time minutes. Their last game, he didn't even get like real minutes.
Yeah.
That's how loaded that team is.
They
All right,
are.
so looking at the left bracket, okay, Angola, Nigeria. We'll talk about that in a bit. Cape Verde and Mauritania, they haven't played, right?
No, they haven't played.
And then Morocco, South Africa. I think Morocco will beat South Africa. I saw like one half of Mauritania. I think Cape Verde should beat Mauritania, but I think Morocco will come out of that bracket.
I'm not sure if Morocco will come out of that bracket.
Really? You think South Africa can beat Morocco?
The most unpredictable team in this whole tournament. On their good day, they can beat anybody.
Interesting.
You know why? It's simple because the bulk of their team plays in South Africa.
That's true, and that's a decent league still.
So I don't have the stats, but I'll be shocked if they don't have the higher XG one of the highest XGs, expected goals in this tournament.
Mm.
They create chances. It's putting it in the back of the net. That is the
Yeah.
problem with South Africa. You
Mm.
know, they play, they are skillful, they know how to play with each other. I love watching South Africa play, right? And Morocco has not had a good tournament. They've not, right? They were not the top of their group, were they? I don't think so.
No, I don't think so. South
Yeah, they
Africa,
didn't.
I think South Africa won their own group. Not sure. I think they
Yeah,
won
so
their
I
own
can I
group.
can quickly check that out. Okay,
Yeah.
Morocco was actually the top of their group, but
They were top of the
they
group.
yeah, yeah, but they had a game where they had a draw, and that was the only game I watched for them. I wasn't too impressed with
Mm.
Morocco. But you on paper you will expect Morocco to win.
To beat South Africa. Yeah.
Yeah, you will expect Morocco to come out of that bracket. So if we go by what seems most likely, it will seem as if this is I'm distracted by the NFL
Uh,
going on right
oh,
now.
I know. That's what you're doing.
They
We'll
just
talk. We'll talk about that as well. But go on.
anyway. So it will seem as if it's Senegal from that right bracket, and it's
Yes.
most likely going to be Nigeria or Morocco from the left bracket.
All
Yeah,
right. So
from the
let's. Was that really a fumble in the end zone?
that's
What?
that's what they're ruling it as.
Oh my goodness!
Wow, it's out. It's out. It's out.
Unbelievable.
Unbelievable.
Okay, we're gonna move on.
Guys, that's also actually watching.
Yeah, I know.
AFC championship between Ravens
Okay, so
and the Chiefs. Anyway,
oh, the ball was out. So the ball was out, and then it was recovered. It
by six,
wasn't down. It was
it was
recovered in the
covered
end
by
zone.
six.
Yeah, fumble, recovery. Interesting. All right.
So it's so what's going on right now?
He fumbled it.
It's a
The ball
turnover.
was live.
It's turnover.
Yeah, it's a turnover. He fumbled it. The ball was live, and then it was recovered. Yeah,
That's it. Chiefs are winning this game.
yeah, they are.
I think Chiefs are winning this game. Anyway, so back to AFCON.
Yeah.
So I think it's going to be Nigeria Senegal for the final. The Nigerian in me will probably say, yeah, we would love Nigeria to win, but man, that Senegalese team is something else.
All right. So point counterpoint. We saw Angola, right?
Yeah.
I didn't think they were very good. Not necessarily in that game, just in general. I don't think that's a great team, right?
Mm-hmm.
They were playing Namibia, who are definitely not a great team, right? So is
Mm-hmm.
Angola a great team, or do they just have good finishers, or did they just did they just have good finishers on the day?
So Namibia were a terrible team.
Yeah,
Sorry, I
yeah,
mean,
not good, not good.
you can have a red card, right? You can have a man advantage, and these guys just counter attack and they played you, and it's in the net. So I'm not going to judge Angola based on that. Now, the two guys that you're talking about, one of them plays in the Egyptian league, and the other plays in the Qatar. He plays in the league in Qatar. Yeah,
Yeah,
fine players, no doubt, right? But are they world beaters? Nah. If Nigeria's defense plays to their, plays the way they've been playing, I don't see Angola breaching that defense. The question will then be, can Nigeria put the ball in the back of the net? Yeah? Because our offensive play and our lack of midfield cohesion, like we said, I mean, it's one of the reasons why we haven't scored as many goals as we should have scored. Osimhen only has one goal.
and it was almost fumbled into the net
It was,
in the first game.
it wasn't almost. He was fumbled into the net. It was from. He probably scored the goal with his nose or something. I don't think he really headed that ball. It was like his nose touched it, or maybe his mask scored the goal for him. So yeah, my expectation is Angola will probably make a lot of noise, but I've been surprised with the Nigerian defense. I'm not gonna lie to you, right? They've been solid. I thought Ekong was going to be suspect, but Ekong having center backs has given him that leeway to be like a sweeper kind of, right? And he's done the job, very well. He will have
I
been they
think I
must
think it's
score.
been a good leader, right? Sometimes you just have these innate leadership qualities, right? He's been a good
Yeah.
leader, stepping up to take that penalty. Obviously, I don't think you or I would have ever picked him
Hmm.
to take the PK, but he
But
stepped up.
he scored the PK World Cup qualifiers, Ghana, Nigeria, and Abuja.
Mm, mm.
Same thing. He scored the PK. So I'm sure he must have. I'm sure in training they must have given him the PK
Yeah,
responsibility.
yeah. But that was big because
It was
without
big.
that goal, I don't know.
Yeah.
And it's been okay. He had that block yesterday. I don't know if you remember. He had that block. It was timed right. It was perfect. Is one of the reasons Cameroon didn't have a shot on goal because
Yep.
that may have been a shot on goal if he hadn't blocked it.
Yeah.
All
Yeah.
right,
Yeah.
all right. So you think Nigeria can beat Angola?
So for some of our friends, they'll be happy to hear this. I'm
Yeah,
sure you know the people I'm talking
I know
about.
what you're talking about.
Uh-huh. So there's a massive caveat there. Our defense needs to play to their capabilities. If they
Okay.
don't, man, Angola can run riots on us. They can, frankly.
All right. So you're thinking Nigeria Senegal for the final.
Yep.
Okay.
I think Senegal will take it. I don't see us beating the Senegalese team.
I don't think we can beat Mane. That's really what it comes down to for me. I think the best player by a mile when if those two countries meet will be Mane. And I don't think Osimhen is anywhere near the class of Mane or near the not just the class, the what do you call it?
Skill
Form.
set.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and form of Mane right now.
Mhm.
The football brain, the football sense, the confidence, the experience. I just don't see it. We don't have anyone like Manny on that team. Our most experienced players don't have the physical tools to match the experience right now.
Yeah.
Unfortunately,
Yeah.
yeah,
And unfortunately, our team, talent wise, nah, we're not.
no, it's not.
Yeah,
Yeah, that
this is arguably one of the worst Nigerian teams in terms of talent. Yeah, let's be frank.
there might be more talent on the bench than there is on the like the
Exactly.
bench talent is old or injured, and that's the
Yeah.
problem, or
And
both.
another topic for discussion another day will be why the local league is not feeding, the Super Eagles with enough,
Yeah,
um, enough talent.
high
You
level
know,
talent. Yeah,
high
high
level
level talent.
talent. High level talent. And see, I follow the local leagues.
I don't.
He doesn't, but we're both invested in football, local football. Yeah, because we kind of we're part owners of a local team in Nigeria here, but we play in the lower divisions. So I know what's going on in Nigerian football.
Mm.
But that's another topic for another day. We'll really dive into that and discuss it in detail. Yeah.
All right. So AFCON, Nigeria, Senegal. We both think Senegal is going to take it. And then we'll be back next week. And Nigeria and Senegal will probably be out by then. That's how these things tend to go. All right. So
So let's hang that there. Let's
right,
let's
right.
let's
So
let's, let's move on.
let's do a quick review of the top five European league
Hmm.
before we wrap. So the English Premier League, La Liga, Bundesliga, Liga, and Serie A.
Yep.
Um, let's start with the EPL. Who is winning it? Who is pretending? Who is gonna cry at the end of the season? And why is it Arsenal?
Okay. So full disclosure, he's an Arsenal fan.
I'm an Arsenal fanatic, and
I
you
will.
used to be an Arsenal fan.
I so to be fair, I'm still an Arsenal fan, but I'm not as vested as I was before. It was so bad. I remember vividly where I was when Barcelona beat Arsenal in the ninth. That was when 2000,
2006.
2006 Champions League. I was in a hotel in Abuja. I'll never forget that day. And I don't like watching football. I don't like watching games with group of people because I like listening to the commentary and learning from the commentators and stuff. When you're in a viewing center, you don't hear jack. Yeah. So I watched this game alone in my hotel room. That night was not.
Did you
God.
cry? You can just
Uh,
skip to the part where you cried. It's okay.
no, 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 no. I almost cried. I almost cried. And I remember vividly, the game finished. I didn't know what else to do. I put on a latest episode, a latest season of 24. Remember 24, Jack
Yeah,
Bauer?
yeah.
Yeah. And I watched it for 24 hours, more or less. I watched
This is madness.
I'm not joking. That's exactly what I
This
did.
is crazy.
It was I needed to get the pain out of my system. And I'm
Mm,
like, this is not healthy, man.
mm.
It's not healthy. So I just said, you know what, I need to watch Arsenal games with a pinch of salt. So I kind of trained myself to have amnesia when it comes to Arsenal. Once we lose, I kind of
You're
block it
done.
out. I'm done. I don't cry over spilled milk. Oh, this should no, I don't. I just let it go. Right. So I
Uh,
kind of just expect that Arsenal will lose every game, and if we win, we EP. If we don't, I'm like, well, that's what I expected anyway.
so that's very evolved of you, very mature of you. I am nowhere near there. So I still throw things on my TV when I'm watching. I yell
Uh,
and scream. I scare my kids. But they'll live. They'll live. They'll be okay.
I keep
Um,
telling you that you never learn, right? That's the anytime, every season that the season is about to start, Akin's on WhatsApp saying, "This is Arsenal season, man. Kai Havertz, oh, Gabriel Jesus, oh, this." I tell you, you never learn.
so
Right?
I've overcorrected a little bit, right? I've gone from Arsenal has the best players. We just need a great coach, right? Wenger was there, 23 years. The last 10 years, I didn't want him there. He was terrible. He should have been gone. He wasted so many, many, many years. But to be honest, it wasn't just Wenger, right? It was the front office was terrible. There was a lot going on. There was probably corruption, probably money
Yeah,
laundering.
let's say
Uh,
75 million for Pepe. Yeah,
Pepe, 72 million, but what's 3 million among friends? You
yeah,
know,
come on.
um, so there was a lot going on. But I think I told you this. I saw before the beginning of last season. I saw them during the preseason in Baltimore. I think it was Arsenal versus Chelsea.
Chelsea. Yeah.
Yeah, and I said at the time, I'm like, Gabriel Jesus has transformed this team. Arsenal is going to win the league, and
Yep.
Chelsea might get relegated. Was it Chelsea or Everton? Was it
Yeah, well,
Everton?
it was both of them. We played
Who
Everton.
was Lampard? Who was Lampard coaching? Whoever Lampard was
It
coaching at the
was
time.
Chelsea.
I think it
It
was
was
Everton.
Chelsea.
I think it was
Was it Chelsea?
Everton.
Okay. Yeah.
It was Everton. It was. I said Everton will get relegated. Arsenal will win the league. That was how good they were. It was transformative. Like Bukayo Saka looked like a different player, and I'm like, he didn't get that much better over the summer. It was Gabriel Jesus, right?
Yeah.
So, but of course, we did the Arsenal thing. We ended up losing the league by 5 points. It is what it is. I keep thinking of all the different areas we could have picked up 6 points throughout the season. I can't get
Hmm.
it out of my mind. And now we're here, right? So we got rid of Shaka. I'm not gonna lie and say I was crying for him when we got rid of him. I'm like, it is what it is. But we have £100 million invested in that position in Vieira and Havertz, and they look nothing alike. So it
Yep.
sounds like the old Arsenal ways of disjointed thinking. Like, what do you want for that position? And why do you have two diametrically opposed specimens for that position? It doesn't make sense to me, right? One is tiny and skillful. The other is tall, gangly, unskilled,
Hmm.
but can score the occasional scuff shot. So what are we doing? So that's shocking to me. Sometimes things work out. Like Odegaard worked out, right? I don't know if anyone thought it was going to be this good. Certainly not Madrid, or they wouldn't have sold him to us. So I don't know what's going to happen at that left 8. I think that's a major problem for Arsenal. Uh, but I think Jurgen Klopp saying he's leaving at the end of the season, I think helps Arsenal. I think these players will be distracted. I think they will try too hard. I think Liverpool is not going to win the league. I think it will come down to either Man City or Arsenal. So, what do you think?
Okay, so couple of things. So, talking about Arsenal to start off, I think the plan or the initial plan was for Partey and Rice to play in the games that Arsenal need a bit of defensive cover, right?
Yeah, makes sense.
And when we're playing teams that are not as good as Arsenal, then you have the likes of Kai and Vieira take over that left-sided midfield,
Okay.
right? And frankly, that makes some sense.
Mm-hmm.
But the problem is, Partey is held together with Teflon.
Mm-hmm.
He can sneeze and be out for 4 weeks. It's that bad.
Mm-hmm.
So he kind of threw a lot of spanner in the works, kind of, and things that it didn't work out. But I mean, that's another discussion for another day. The way the Arsenal team is evolving. Questionable acquisitions, for example, I thought Kai had 65
million, 67 million.
I don't have a problem with Kai, but for that amount, I thought that was I didn't think that's value for money. I still stand to be proven wrong. Same thing with the loan and option to buy for David Raya.
David Raya
is not as of now. He hasn't proven that he's that much better than Ramsdale was last season. That's another discussion for another day. So I think Arsenal is out of. I don't think Arsenal is competing or contending for the trophy this season.
With 18 games still to play. No, 17 games still to play for Arsenal.
Yeah, and I'll tell you why.
What's that math? That's 50 what?
It's about the fixtures, right?
Okay, tell me more.
We're going away to City.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
We're going away to Old Trafford.
Yes, they don't count, but go on.
It's always a banana peel for Arsenal, right?
Okay.
When was the last time you Arsenal won at Old Trafford?
It's been a while.
Exactly. Right? And Liverpool is coming to the Emirates.
Yes.
I don't trust this current Arsenal team in any of those games.
I don't disagree.
Yeah. And Arsenal will have the occasional brain fart, like he had a couple of weeks ago.
Fulham, West Ham, Villa. Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. But you see Liverpool, when Salah left, I remember you said they'll struggle without Salah. See what's going on.
They haven't. I was wrong.
They haven't, because they have a better squad than even City.
That's true.
Liverpool are quite deep, but a lot of people kind of just ignore and they think it's only Salah. It's not only Salah.
Yeah.
They have options all over the pitch. The only place where they have a major discrepancy in talent is at the centre-back position.
Okay.
Maybe the goalkeeper, yeah?
No, I like Kelleher. I like him. I like the backup. He's actually really good.
He's actually really good, but Alisson is
it's world class.
Alisson will be world class, yeah.
Yeah.
Van Dijk is still putting that team together. He's still that leader at the back. He's still tidy, no mistakes, no errors, not defensive errors for Van Dijk. You can't say the same thing for all those Manchester City defenders. All of them, they've had occasional, loss of concentration or whatever, right? So Liverpool, for me, they actually have the best squad. Darwin Núñez, a couple of years back, and Haaland were like the two.
Yeah, I remember.
They played an under-21 tournament where it was Norway against Uruguay.
Uruguay, yeah.
Right, and Núñez was a monster. and he still has it in him. It's just that Haaland has evolved faster than he has. But you can see he's beginning to show that give me that confidence, give me that game time, I can get there. Yeah,
So we always talk about form versus class, right?
yeah.
So for me, the class of Nunez has never been disputed, right? I'm like,
Mm-hmm.
to have that physique. I mean, it's quick, is fast, it's strong. He can play across the forward line. Um, One, I think they paid a lot of money for him, right? Even in
Yep,
this inflated
yep,
environment that we operate in, it's a lot of money for someone that young, that kind of unproven, and I think it's weighing on him, right? And you can't really predict whether it's going to weigh on the player or not. For him, it is, for whatever reason.
yeah,
Um, and then I think there was a lot of change around that time, right? Liverpool for 5-6 seasons was Firmino doing what he does in the middle, Mane on the left, Salah on the right, right? And Firmino didn't have to score. He just had to weave things around. And then comes this guy, and then you want someone else to do what Firmino does, and there's really no one else. Maybe Gabriel Jesus does it, in a similar way. You don't really have a lot of high quality players who are good enough to start for Liverpool who bring the same thing to the number 9 position. You just don't. So I think that's what's going on at Liverpool.
yeah.
And Lamar just threw another
Just an
just
interception.
threw an interception. So yeah, I
That's
think
that's
Kansas
that's that's
Kansas
game.
City is gonna take this one. So
Yeah, and there is no way. I don't think Detroit or the Niners. I
yeah,
don't think they can. Nah, they can't deal
no,
with
nope.
Mahomes and Kelsey. They can't.
This Yeah, we should
Let's
do it. We should do an episode on the NFL. Maybe,
anyway.
yeah, maybe,
We'll get
yeah.
there.
We have a
We'll
lot of
get
potential episodes. Yeah, we might
there.
need to do this more often than just once a week.
Yeah,
At
just
this
one
point.
week. We'll see how it goes.
Yeah,
So back to Liverpool.
yeah,
So my money is kind of on Liverpool. I don't
interesting.
know. My
I
money
think
is
they're
on
out.
my money is on Liverpool.
Okay.
City, and also City, Liverpool are playing on Thursdays, right?
Yes, they can rest all their players.
Yeah.
They don't
It will
care.
get to a point unless Klopp wants to say, "Oh, I want a double or a treble or a quadruple as it is," because
No, but
there's
think about it, Yinka. They're in the EPL. They're in the final of the Calabash Cup or whatever that thing is called.
yeah,
They're in the FA Cup still.
yeah,
Did they win today? They were playing
yeah.
today.
They did, they
Okay.
did.
So
Well,
they're in for the quadruple right now. So they can decide to sacrifice the Europa.
absolutely,
Yeah.
absolutely, and
Or they
that's
may
what I
not need
think is
to.
going to happen.
Once they play their final, that's it. Then
Yeah.
they,
So once they
then
win one, they might start. They might get the urge to let's make this a quadruple or whatever.
yeah, yeah.
Maybe that's the only reason why they might fumble the league. But in terms of squad depth, man, nah,
Okay.
nah, they're
All
good.
right. So
They're good.
give us your top three predictions. EPL.
So top three for me is gonna be Liverpool, City, and Arsenal. Uh,
Where will Villa finish?
Villa will get found out very soon. I don't think they're as good as advertised,
If
right?
they had a different coach, would you say the same thing? Are you only saying this because of their coach?
It's the coach that is actually helping them to get to where they are right now.
Okay, that's fair
So to
enough.
be fair to Emery is a very good coach. He's
Yeah,
elevated Villa, right?
yeah,
I mean,
yeah,
there's no substantial difference between Steve
yeah.
Gerrard's squad and the squad that is currently working
Yeah,
wonders.
Diaby, who doesn't start for him. Who
Exactly.
else? But is it Buendia has been injured, so
When
he's
he
not
has
even
been
playing.
injured, he just brought in Diaby, but
He brought in
Diaby
Diaby, yeah.
he
But
had a good season, but it's not as yeah.
you know
So
who you know who would have been great on that squad?
who?
Kudus.
Yep.
That
Kudus would have.
it would have been great.
Kudus would have been great on any squad.
Yeah, that's true.
Kudus would have done a better job for Arsenal in terms of resting Saka.
Yeah, of course,
Because
of
right
course.
now Saka has to play every damn game.
Yeah,
Which is not really the best for the young man. Yeah.
yeah.
And I mean, I'll have paid 45 for Kudus instead of 65 for Havertz.
Absolutely. I gave up on that front when Arsenal were leading 5-0, and I don't think Saka was substituted. Was he? I don't think it was. I think they brought in they made 5 subs, and it wasn't one of them.
I don't think it was,
Yeah,
right?
that's crazy to me.
If there's an Achilles heel for Arteta, it's the fact that he's not making the best use of his squad.
Mhm.
And he will also tell you it's because the squad is probably not good enough.
The
And
quality is not high enough.
to be fair, right?
Yeah.
Liverpool is in like the third iteration of the squad that that Klopp took over, right?
Yeah, that's fair. That's fair. Yeah.
You know, so people that are complaining, I'm like, yeah, Reece Nelson is okay, but not as good as Saka. Jorginho is okay, not as good as Rice or
Yeah.
Partey. I get that, but are you willing to invest in the squad by selling a Saka to a Barcelona or a Real Madrid or a
They're
City?
not, because that's how Liverpool built their
That's
team.
exactly. They just looked at Coutinho, put a massive price tag on him. Barca were foolish enough to pay it, and like,
Paid.
thank you very much. They took the money and they
Bought a
reinvested
goalkeeper,
into the squad.
and then bought Van
Absolutely.
Dijk, right? That's how they
Yeah, it
bought
was
Van Dijk.
Van
Yeah.
Dijk from Southampton and Alisson from Roma.
Yeah.
That's what they did.
Yeah.
That's exactly what they did. You know, and the squad just went to the next level.
Yeah.
They
All right.
went
So
to the next
I'll give you my top 3. So I think City will take it. You know, my heart says Arsenal, but I think going 0 for 9 points in those 3 games, I think that's the end of a title challenge, unless something crazy happens. I think City will take it. I think Arsenal will come second. I think Liverpool will come third. And I think Villa will come fourth, because I can't stand the thought of that lot. Spurs.
Oh, okay.
You know,
And
getting anything out of this season. Can't stand
yep,
it.
I agree with you. We both dislike Spurs.
Yes, we do. Okay. Let's go real quick to La Liga. Let's just talk. Xavi is leaving at the end of the season, he says. Is Arteta gonna be in the running for the vacancy? And is Klopp says he's gonna take a year off. Will he really take a year off if Barcelona comes calling?
Arteta is one lucky guy, because all of a sudden now we hear that he's currently negotiating in the contract with Arsenal, right? And this Barca news, we just had a couple of zeros to whatever amount he's going to get. Yeah. Is the Barcelona project better than the Arsenal project right now?
Barcelona is bigger than Arsenal.
Not the club, but the project as it is right now, right? I don't know. I don't think he's leaving Arsenal. I don't think he's leaving Arsenal. But I can be shocked, to be fair. But I don't think he's leaving Arsenal. So I think he stays. I think Klopp is going to the German national team.
Oh, interesting. That's very interesting.
That's what I think, right? I think Klopp just wants to take time out. And because the national team coaching gig is not as hectic as club level, right? So you get all the respect, you get all the whatever, but the job is, come on, it's not as tough as being a Liverpool manager, yeah. So I think that's where he's off to. I think the Liverpool job is being tailor made for the guy at Leverkusen right now, Xabi Alonso, right? Because I'll be shocked. I'll be shocked if Liverpool bring back Stevie Gerrard. No, that would be insane. Xabi Alonso is doing a perfect job at Bayer Leverkusen. I think he's going to take over from Klopp at the end of the season. Yeah. I think they're going to take over from Klopp at the end of the season. So
you think, how long has it been at Leverkusen?
This is his
second season. Okay.
Yeah, second season. But I think this audition with the Leverkusen job, his audition has been fantastic. They've not lost a game this season.
It's in any tournament.
in any
in any
tournament.
competition. It's
Yep,
amazing.
they've not lost any game this season.
Wow.
Any. And they're playing well. Xhaka is, I mean, I watched their game yesterday. Although they
Um,
didn't score, right? It was, I mean, they're amazing.
I will
Leverkusen.
reserve. I will reserve my comments on Shaka. We're just gonna
Oh,
move on. We're gonna
yeah.
we're gonna move on. All right.
But
So give.
having said that,
Okay.
Girona, worthy
Yeah.
mention,
Yeah.
they've been a revelation this season,
Mm-hmm.
right? If any club in La Liga is competing with those two main guys, they get like 80-85% of the TV revenue. So
It's
they're responsible.
ridiculous.
I mean,
Yeah.
it's just ridiculous. These guys, you need to give it to them.
Yeah.
They are doing a fantastic job. Yeah.
So
Uh,
top three, La Liga. Give us your top three.
it's going to be Madrid. I think Madrid will win it. I think
Okay.
Girona will probably fade,
Okay.
towards the tail end of the season. So it's going to be Madrid 1, Girona 2, and the other Madrid team 3. Barca will be fourth.
Okay. So my
Yeah.
top three is Girona one. A man can dream. I just feel like I feel like Madrid has had too many injuries, too many major injuries, and I don't know how much longer they can keep doing this. I just don't know. What's the name of the kid? The English kid. Uh,
Bellingham, Jude,
Bellingham. I don't think he has the second season. Sorry, the second half of the season as good as the first
at the
half.
first half. Yeah.
And there were games where it wasn't just his drive from midfield or all the other stuff, but his actual goals. You don't
Yeah.
expect this man to score 20 goals. That would be absolutely crazy. Scoring 20 goals from the middle of the park when you're not. Even Zidane didn't score 20 goals, right? So someone who sits back that deep, it just doesn't make sense. And they have too many injuries, too many ACLs out. So I think Girona is gonna win. I think
But
Madrid. You'll be Girona, Madrid, and Atleti.
interesting.
Yeah.
Give it to Jude though.
Oh no,
Jude is
it should win, but the Ballon d'Or, regardless of what happens, in my
Jude
opinion, win
is
the Ballon
a
d'Or.
fantastic footballer.
Yeah, is really amazing.
His
We don't.
understanding of the game at this age
He's younger than
is,
Saka.
yeah, yeah, and he's playing in that Madrid team. Is like the focal point of that
Yeah,
Madrid team. It's ridiculous.
yeah.
Yeah, you had to give it to him. However, the last game they played, was it against? I can't remember who it was. The
Didn't they
refs.
play against Bilbao, or did I make that up?
No, it wasn't Bilbao. Their last game was against. I can't remember who they played. Was it? I can't remember who they played. I think it was not this weekend. The last
Let's go
weekend.
to
It was
trusty
Real. It was Almeria. They played Almeria.
Yes,
Yeah,
yes, they did. They did.
that game, Madrid should have lost that game.
Wow.
Madrid should have lost the game. The refs and the VAR parceled the game and gave it to
Mm.
Madrid and says, "Here's our late Christmas present. Y'all have a happy New Year."
Yeah,
That's
yeah,
what
yeah.
happened, right? Because Girona had a clear goal that was chopped off, and all the Madrid goals, all of them, well, maybe not the third, maybe not the winner,
Questionable.
but they were questionable. They were all questionable. These guys scored one with his arm. What's his name? Vinny Jr. One with his arm, and the first one was a penalty, which wasn't really a penalty. You know, so they kind of parceled the game and gave it to Madrid. Yeah. But I don't think Girona. I think they'll fade.
We'll
For
see.
Madrid to be where they are right now, despite the injuries, come on.
So
Nah.
my take on that is simple. We've talked about money laundering. We talked about there is something going on with Girona. We know their ownership structure. They're part of the city group of companies.
Yep.
For lack of a better way of putting it. So
Yep.
there are players. There's stuff going on. So they're the little machine that could or whatever. But I think they'll be there at the end of the season. But we'll see. We'll see.
We'll see.
All right.
We'll see.
Let's go to the Bundesliga. Give your 1, 2, and 3.
So for Bundesliga, I think for me, I I think Leverkusen will be one.
Okay. Bayer Leverkusen. All right.
I think Kane has taken the Spurs curse to Bayern.
Okay.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
Oh,
Right? He will score a boatload of goals, but he ain't gonna win nothing.
okay.
Right? That has been his curse at Spurs.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm just this is a cheeky one on all
Yeah, 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 yeah.
our Spurs fans on here.
It's played really well. Give it to him though. It's
Yeah,
played
yeah,
really
yeah.
well.
Is we said for me that's the sports player that I like that I don't like.
Yeah. But he's an Arsenal kid.
He's a fantastic finisher.
Yeah,
Give
yeah,
that to
yes.
him.
Yes.
I
He's
like him.
amazing.
He's a good
He's
player,
amazing.
right? I think Leverkusen are going to get it, right?
Okay, that's one.
They just got this Spanish guy from Betis. So the
I
Nigerian guy
saw,
has been injured.
yeah,
So Iglesias.
Boniface or whatever. Yeah.
Yeah, Boniface is injured. So they
Mm-hmm.
got Iglesias in on loan. So that should augment their attack.
Mm-hmm.
Their defense is solid. Their midfield is solid. This young guy, Where's is just he's having a fantastic season. Xhaka is having a fantastic season. Palacios is having a fantastic
I'm
season.
gonna pretend you didn't
So
just mention Shaka, but go on.
I mean, I will. I mentioned Saka. So that's my pick is Leverkusen,
Okay.
Munich, and Dortmund. Yeah.
Munich Dortmund. Okay, so I think I agree with you. Mostly, I'm hoping it's Leverkusen because I don't want Bayern to. But for me, it's really hard for me to take your league seriously if someone can win it 10 years in a row. I'm
Yeah.
sorry, there hasn't been a real challenge to Bayern in forever. Dortmund for me, if you have a stadium that gets 84,000 every week
Yeah.
and you sell all your best players, that's unforgivable. That's like a cardinal football sin. You should get whipped in the public square for that. That is just crazy to me.
But I
You
think
know,
football is a business, right? Dortmund are running a business
how much
because
money do you need to make?
yeah, but
You
that's
know,
it. They want to
I
make
mean,
a boatload of money.
you get players for $2, you sell them for 200 million. When will it be enough for you?
Aki, let me. So it's all about expectations, right? Dortmund,
Uh,
if they sell every single player in the squad,
yeah,
that stadium is still gonna be filled the
I
next
know.
day.
Okay, but why don't you like winning? That's what I want to know. Why do you want to be a
The occasional winning is fine. Maybe the winning for them is giving Bayern a tough time. Maybe that's what they
no,
consider
for me,
winning.
that's just loser mentality. That's the Arsene Wenger. That's the Arsene Wenger. Top four is a trophy mentality. You know, like I'm
So
sorry,
it's all
if
about
City
what the
wins
investors
10
want.
straight, right? If City wins 10 straight,
Yeah.
everyone who runs Chelsea, Man U, whatever, would lose their jobs, and that's how it should be. You
No,
know,
but in Bayern, in Germany, that's not the way it is, right?
but you
Those
know
guys,
what's crazy? You know
those
what's
guys,
crazy?
yeah.
They now sell their best players to Bayern. Not only can you not beat them, you groom players and then just deliver it to them for money.
Because Bayern have the might of the top Mercedes Alliance.
Sorry.
Come on,
So at least
it's
sell your
it's a
best players
food,
to Real Madrid.
it's a food chain thing. It's a
Uh,
food chain thing. Bayern is on top of the food chain in the German league. They have all the might, right?
okay.
If Bayern comes calling, is either you sell now or they are willing to chill till the guy runs out his contract and will
Yeah.
join them
And
on
then
the
they'll just
field.
take
So why not just take the money and go invest in another young guy and bring him
I,
up again?
I just feel like there has to be a little bit of competitive arrogance,
Yeah.
competitive pride,
Mm-hmm.
right? Where you're like, we get 84,000. Which other big team in Europe? Maybe Man U gets what, 73,000, something like
Yep.
that.
Yep.
No other big team in Europe outside of Real and Barca has that kind of stadium, right?
Yeah.
Where
Yeah.
I mean, this is crazy, right? And then you have your academy is so ridiculous that you're churning out all these amazing players every year, and you can never put them together enough to mount a real challenge. Like, you know what I mean? Buy an adult once in a while. You don't always have to buy kids. Just buy the occasional adult and really go at this thing. You
Yeah.
know, And if you
Yeah,
won't win the league, win a cup. Just do something.
yeah,
Like for me, it's just it's amazing to me. Okay,
it
let's move.
is.
League on. Which okay, let me start by saying for the last, I'll say 15 years, the amount of talent that has come out of this league is just ridiculous. Like so in the US, being sports carries the league, right?
Yeah,
And they advertise it as the league of talent. And I couldn't agree more, right?
yep,
Because you look
yep.
at the last two World Cups, the one in Russia that were just, and then the last one
Egypt
that
are
just
out, by the
happened
way.
in Qatar.
Egypt is out.
Egypt is out. Oh well, so Salah can just
Salah
stop
can just
pretending. He
stay
can
back
stop
in
pretending his
Liverpool.
injury. You know. So you look at the number of I don't know what the percentage was. It was some ridiculous percentage of players at the World Cup who were either French by birth
Yeah.
or started their career in France. Like
Hmm.
how this league continues to turn out talent, year after year is it blows the mind, right? But having said all that, you have PSG with a lot of money, with one
Yep.
of the best players in the world, Mbappe.
Hmm.
Are they gonna win this year? And by how much?
They're coasting right now.
Yeah, it's
It's
it's a little crazy.
there is nobody, right? Looking at the table, there is nobody that's near them right now, and
Yeah,
there's no one with enough talent to compete with them. Yeah.
yeah.
So if I were them, I'll play my B team for the rest of this league, and
And
I'll try to
focus on the Champions League.
win the Champions League. Yeah. Because anything short of a Champions League final of the
Yeah,
trophy at this point for PSG is going to be a disaster. And
but
there's still this massive Mbappe cloud looming over them.
here's my pushback.
Yeah.
3 of the last 4 years, I think they were in the semifinals of the Champions League. I think.
No,
Sorry, two.
they
Is
didn't.
it 2 of the last 3 years?
Yeah, too. And they,
2 of the last 3 years.
yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
they were in the
Mm-hmm.
semifinals, and then they played one final in that period, right? Okay, so
PSG, did PSG play any final? No, they did not.
they
Did they
did.
play?
Okay, so they lost in the semifinals, but
It
both
was
times, right?
semifinals. They did
No,
not win.
they played Bayern. Didn't they play Bayern in the final
No,
like
no,
3 years ago? Three, four
no.
years ago?
We
Okay,
can double check. We
we
can double
really
check.
need
I don't think
we
so.
need we need a research
We
assistant.
need, yeah, we need a
Um,
statistic. Yeah.
so here's my thing: the guys they brought in are not better than the guys they lost. Kolo Muani, Dembele is a disappointment. All right, no one who is trying to win anything should be hiring this guy. Come on, like it's ridiculous.
Yeah.
Um, they had this experiment where they bought a bunch of no-name, hardworking midfielders. I'm like, oh, PSG is deciding to build a team like a real serious-minded, football team. And
Yeah.
then now that's over. Is Verratti still there? Did he leave?
No, he's in Qatar. He's left already.
Okay, so he left. He was one for me. He was one of the bright spots. Like, okay,
Yeah,
an
he was.
actual world-class player who wants to do the dirty work, right?
Yeah.
They
Yeah.
had that with debacle with their goalkeeper. I'm like, what are you doing? Choose one, move on. But anyway, so I don't think this team is ready for the Champions League. Clearly not as ready as they were the last 4 years. So I
Yeah.
don't actually expect them to do anything in the Champions League.
Yeah. I don't expect them to do anything either. I think the most interesting thing about PSG right now is what's going to happen to Mbappe. That's what I want to know.
Yeah, I agree. What do you think
That's
will happen to Mbappe?
uh, they keep saying we have a deal, Mbappe and the PSG owners. So we
Mhm.
have a gentleman's agreement. I'm wondering what
What does that
what
mean?
what does that mean?
Oh.
What gentleman's agreement? Because if I'm Mbappe, the only way he gets to leave is if he leaves on a free. I don't think any club will come out and pay 200 million pounds or thereabout. I don't think that's going to happen.
So with Klopp leaving, is Mbappe to Liverpool officially dead?
Mbappe to Liverpool was never on. I don't know
Okay.
where that came from.
What about Mbappe to Arsenal?
Mbappe to
That was a
Arsenal.
joke. That was a joke. We're moving on. That was a joke. Okay. So
Mbappe wants to go to Real
to
Madrid.
Real. Yeah.
Real does not have the money. That's the dilemma right now. And
Yeah. Yep.
PSG is saying we can't let you go on a
For
free.
free.
So my idea of that gentleman's agreement is we have to get something for you, right?
Yeah.
That's what it seems like. So it will probably be the same deal that PSG struck with Monaco to bring him on board, which is a
A
loan
loan.
with an
Loan.
obligation to buy.
Got it.
So maybe that's the gentleman's agreement that they're talking about, right?
Mm.
So that at least it can fit into Madrid's FFP, and that's another topic we need to talk about.
So
FFP.
Mbappe is a forward who prefers to play on the left. I'm not gonna call
Yeah.
him a winger because he's not a winger. He's also
Mm-hmm.
not a nine.
Yeah.
Vinny Jr. operates from the left.
Yes.
Can they sell Vinny Jr. to Arsenal to pay for Mbappe?
Why are
Yes.
you? Why do you keep
Yes.
bringing Arsenal into this
Yes.
discussion,
I
man?
only care about Arsenal, obviously.
No, stop it. So what you're saying is, oh, Henri and Pires is the perfect example.
Okay.
Pires plays from the left. You will think
Henry
Henri
plays from the
also plays
left.
from the left because he's always drifting to the left. But once you understand that that's how it works, Henri flips to the left, Pires comes into the middle.
Absolutely.
That's what Vini is good at. Vini gets into the box more than any winger that I know. He actually has more goals than assists. He barely assists anybody anyway.
Yeah, that's true. That's
He
true.
wants to score more. So Mbappe will fit in perfectly into Madrid. Imagine a front four of
No.
Bellingham,
Nope.
Mbappe,
Nope.
Vinny, and
Nope.
Rodrigo.
Nope.
Oh my goodness.
I don't want to imagine.
Oh
Nope.
my goodness. Oh
Nope.
my goodness. It's gonna be football heaven.
We
Those
have
guys
we
are
have
gonna
a
be
mutual
doing
friend who will stop watching ball when that happens. If that happens.
maybe that time I would consider probably taking on some Madrid,
No.
probably be a
Uh-uh.
Madrid fan.
No,
I
when
have a
no.
friend, a very close friend of mine. If he sees this, he is the craziest Madrid fan I know. And he'll be so super happy if Mbappe goes to Madrid.
I think it's inevitable at this point. So I've always had this. I've had this conversation with my brother. I've had it with friends who believed that Mbappe should have left PSG a long time ago. I actually made the case that I was okay with it. Like things. Look, these kids are not. They don't think the way we think in our
Yeah,
generation, right?
yeah,
So
yeah,
he wanted to stay home. By accident of history, home could now pay him way more than home could pay him even 10 years ago, right?
yeah,
So,
yep,
and now with social media, he doesn't have to be in any particular country or club to make money.
yeah,
And then his hometown club is now bringing in, his heroes for him to play with. So I'm
yeah,
like, why would he not stay? I mean, Madrid could not even match his salary. So I get why he stayed. Now he's richer than whatever, Now he can go play for a little bit less somewhere else. So maybe now is the time. And he's still only 25 on top
yep.
of all that.
On
All
top of
right.
all that,
Do
and
we
he
even
has
have to do
he
this?
has forever to
Yeah.
play with Bellingham, Rodrigo, and Vinny Juniors.
And Vinny
Come
Jr.
on, come on, come on, man.
And Vinny Jr. Yeah.
Come on, man.
And I'm a Barcelona fan, not really a Madrid fan, but they know how to build a squad in Madrid. That's the one thing they know how to do. They've done it for years and years. So you got to give it to them.
And they have that mix of getting players for now and players for the future.
And
So
doing it all at the same time in the same
yeah,
place. You know?
they claim they do it in along with within the laws and regulation of FFP.
Yeah.
We want to believe them, but I find it ridiculous at times.
Yeah, but the banks in Madrid live to finance Real
Or,
Madrid. Everybody knows that.
or they get tax savings or
Yeah.
tax
They get
waiver.
something.
They get something from the government from time to time. Anyway,
They get something. All right. So I'm not even sure why we're doing this, but top three in Ligue 1, does it matter?
it
So
doesn't matter.
PSG and
PSG and any other club that decides
can,
to.
can I just say, you're gonna say I'm only thinking about Arsenal, but the thought of Marseille bringing in what's his face now, Aubameyang, and Leon bringing back Lacazette is just like I'm like, if you want to be taken seriously as a league, you can't. We're gonna move on.
yes,
Okay, I know. All right, so Serie A.
Yep,
The resurgence of Syria when we were growing up, that was the league.
that was the
That was
league.
The best players in the world played there. The best
Yeah,
football in the world was played
yeah,
there. Not always the most pleasing football.
yeah. But they
Um,
won trophies. You remember the Champions League finals, the back-to-back, where Milan beat Barcelona that had Romario.
4-0, 92.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
4-0. Yeah.
And the next year, was it the next year or I think it was the next year, where Ajax
Uh,
then beat Milan.
93 or
Yeah,
94, maybe two
Ajax
years
then
after.
beat Milan that had
Yeah.
Kanu and
Kanu and Clivert and all those
and
guys.
Calvert and Finidi George. I remember
Yeah.
when I watched that game. Were you there with us at Sporty's place?
No, I wasn't. I wasn't.
Okay. I watched it at Sporty's place, right? They had this
Yeah.
big dish then, all those big dishes in the Lauren Wings are playing.
Yeah.
I watched that game live. Yeah.
And then the next year, what, Juve beat Ajax the year after that.
I think that was it. I
Yeah.
think even beat Ajax the year after
Juve
that.
beat Ajax in the final the year after that.
Yeah.
So
So Italian
what's
league,
responsible?
they had everybody. They were solid.
So what do you think is responsible for the resurgence of Syria?
I think they kind of went back to the basics, kind of, right? And they they said, let's focus on talent and not necessarily the name. Once the product is good, we have the fan base. We've always had the fan base anyway. People people are kind of fanatic about football in Italy, right? It's the TV rights. It's the TV stuff that we didn't have. Okay, so let's focus on the talent, not necessarily just pumping money on big names, right? So let's focus on the talent and just get people. Let's get people back into the stadium. And once we find any big name that is finding it difficult wherever they are, we can be like the home for them. We'll make them feel comfortable, right? So, for example, look at Lukaku is in Syria. Your Pulisic is in Syria.
Mhm.
So I think they've done a good job in like rebranding and refocusing on what is important, right? Even look at Milan, the two Milan teams. They look for the player, they focus on the talents. We need this guy. We need to bring them on board. And also, in the European football cycle, I think they've done a decent job, right? They've not been the best league, but the teams that have played in Europe have actually done a decent one.
They've done okay. Yeah, they've done okay.
Okay. So that's what's happening to Syria. I think the whole Juventus debacle kind of sacked the big boys up, and everybody's now working. We need to be financially responsible. We can't be throwing money all over the place. And I think that kind of helped them.
And it helped that they don't have the money to throw all over the place.
Exactly.
I'm sure that helped as well. So, two things about Serie A before we leave the European leagues alone. We're gonna talk about your prediction 1, 2, 3 in Serie A, and then we're gonna talk about Osimhen. Let's do the predictions first. That one's easy.
So for the prediction, I actually think Juve will win it.
Okay.
I've been, I don't like Allegri.
Okay. Yeah, I know you don't think he's a good coach. Yes.
I don't think he's a good coach. But I'm looking at that Juve squad. The squad is actually quite decent, right?
Okay.
And they have a striker in Vlahovic that I think this guy was a beast when he was at Fiorentina. Fiorentina they didn't even have a good
might be
squad.
coming to Arsenal, but okay.
No, he's not coming to us. Stop with this Arsenal thing. It's not coming to us. Vlahovic is all of a sudden a super player, and Juve kind of brought in the younger guys, the kids, that they had in their feeder team and stuff, and they've been doing well. Inter might have the big name; they might be the defending champions and stuff, but I want to give it to Juve. Kind of, I like what they have. I like their squad. If you go through the squad list, you don't see big name players there anymore. It's just young guys that are willing to put in the work. Even the people they just bought this guy Jallo, this Portuguese defender.
Yeah.
He's really not that popular, right? But he's a decent defender, very very good defender, right? They have your English boys, McKinney. McKinney is back with them. He's having a better season now than he had.
American.
Yeah, the American. Yeah,
Western McKinney.
Weston
Yeah.
McKinney. Yeah.
Watch out 2026. Watch out 2026 when we host the World Cup and win it.
Okay,
With the
I hear you.
you know what's crazy? The US is gonna win the World Cup before an African country. I said this 20 years ago. You guys all thought I was crazy. But that's what's gonna happen. But let's go on. We'll topic for
Okay,
another day.
well, that's another topic for another day.
Yeah.
I disagree with you on that, but we'll
I know
see.
you disagree, but it will happen.
Exactly, honest. So I'm kind of giving it to you, then. And they have the focus of not, they're not in the Champions League, are they? No, they're not.
You
So
bet they're not in the
they're
Champions League.
not. So they
No.
can focus. So Inter will get distracted with the Champions League and stuff. And I don't think
I could not disagree more. And I thought I was gonna say this, so I looked up the table, right?
yeah,
Because I'm like, I want to be precise when I say this.
yeah,
So I have this goals difference theory, right?
yeah, uh-huh,
Where there isn't a massive difference between two teams, I look at the goals difference,
yeah,
right? If there's a massive difference in the goals difference,
uh-huh,
that's gonna carry the day for me. So let me tell you what I'm saying. Right now, Inter are number 1, Juve are number 2. Juve
Yeah.
have played one more
One more
match,
game,
right?
yeah.
They played 22. Inter have played 21.
uh-huh,
Inter 17 wins, 3 draws, 1 loss, right?
uh-huh.
Juve 16 wins, 5 draws, 1 loss. That's not that significant to me, right?
Yeah.
Because I haven't looked at who's played more at home, away,
Yeah.
whatever, right?
Yeah. Uh-huh.
Points 54 to 53, Inter to
Mhm.
Juve.
Mm-hmm.
Goals scored though 50 to 36. Goals conceded 10 to 13. Goals difference 40.
That's like a 17,
17
17, 15,
17
17, yeah.
17 difference. So for me, unless something drastic happens, if this thing goes wire to wire, for me, I feel like the goals difference kind of tells me who is the better team overall, even when it's really tight. So I'm gonna say Inter, Juve, and I think Milan will stabilize, and I don't think anyone can catch them. They're 10 points ahead of Atalanta right now. So I think they'll be a comfortable number 3.
I think I'll go with the likely upset. I know Inter have the better squad.
Yeah.
They're playing well, but nah.
Okay, we'll see. We'll come back at the end of the season.
And I'm wearing a Juve jersey, by the way.
So. I know you are. I know.
So it'll be unfair if I come on here and I support Inter wearing a Juve jersey.
All right, let's wrap by talking about our man Victor Osimhen. So I will start. I've changed position a little bit on him. I was never a fan, right? The numbers bear out my position. With the exception of last season, I'm not looking at it right now, but I think last season he scored something like 31 goals in 39 matches. I'm not sure in all competitions, something like that. He's never scored more than 14 in a league season, in any season, right? I think it's 25 now, so he's not a baby, right? He's not a kid. So I don't think he's naturally prolific as a striker. So when you're not naturally prolific, then I look at, let me see what my eyes tell me. So I know what the paper tells me, right? So I look at what my eyes tell me. He runs the channels well. Actually, no, let me correct myself. He runs, period. He just runs. I'm not going to say he runs the channels. He just runs a lot, right? Which is good. You have a great motor. Good for you. God bless you, right? But then, can you run with sense? I got some hate when the year they won Napoli's first title in whatever. He wasn't player of the year. Okay, the Georgian kid whose name I can't pronounce was player of the year.
I thought, you how to it.
Yeah, so, you can teach me. Oh, sure,
you're from Kwara, right?
Yeah.
So once you remember Kwara, you've gotten the better part of the name.
Okay, so
Kwarashkelia.
Kwarashkelia. Okay. Yeah. So that guy, Kwarashkelia, was the player of the season. I thought deservedly so. I thought he was by far Napoli's best player that season, right? The other guy scored a bunch of goals, right?
Yeah.
So for me, it's like you put him on any team, are you getting the same results? We're seeing it at AFCON right now. Yeah, you're right. Midfield is terrible, but is not exactly dominating inferior competition. So that's my take on. I hope he gets better. I hope he gets a big money move. I'm not exactly pining for him at my club, if I'm being honest. I hope Chelsea. I hope Arsenal pretends to be in for him, so Chelsea can pay 230 million for him, and then they get relegated for cooking the books. So that's what I hope happens. What do you think?
So I've followed Osimhen since he was on the 17,
Yeah.
right? When we won on the 17 World Cup. And if there was something, he didn't have this hustle then, to be fair. But go ahead on YouTube and go check Osimhen's under 17 goals. You will
I watched
realize
them. I watched them in that tournament. Yeah.
there is a finisher there. To be fair to him, there is a finisher there. This hustle is this hustle that you're seeing, this all action, that wasn't Osimhen in under 17. Yes, he had a bit of that in him, but it was very, very clinical.
I think
It's
that came
because-
after the German debacle that he had. I think
so
that's
he
when
went to Wolfsburg,
Yeah.
right? And it was a rude awakening for him.
Yeah.
Europe is not, I mean, he struggled. I don't
Yeah.
think he scored a goal for Wolfsburg.
No, he didn't. And then he
So
then
they
he got
sent
loaned
him
out
to-
to Charleroi. He got loaned out to
Was it
Charleroi. I think.
Charleroi or
In Belgium,
I think,
right?
Was it Antwerp or Charleroi? Okay, I think it was Charleroi.
Charleroi,
So
yeah.
he went to Charleroi and he had he had a decent return.
Yeah.
At
I think
Charleroi.
it's called maybe 1 and 2. I don't know. I'm not looking at it. Yeah.
He had a very, very decent return in Charleroi. Then he went to Lille, right? And we saw an Osimhen that is now a physical specimen.
Yeah.
Because he was this tall, lanky kid then, right? If you blow too much, the guy might actually fall down. He wasn't the strongest guy when he played on the 17, right? And for Napoli, to be fair, he scored a lot of goals for Napoli,
Yes, it did.
I don't have the numbers here with me, but I'll be shocked if he's not above 50 or 60 or probably.
Yeah, I think it is called. I think it's at 50 something now, but it's roughly 1 and 2 for them. It's roughly.
And like you said, in Napoli, right, they created chances for him, right, and he put those chances away at a very, very high clip.
And he didn't score penalties. So to be fair to him,
he wasn't on
didn't score
penalty.
Yeah.
Now, here's the thing: if he doesn't get the service, he resorts to hustling. The hustle might ruffle a couple of defenders' feathers, and he might get something off them and score, right? Which is what we're seeing on the Super Eagles right now. He is not getting the service. But what he's giving the team is a ridiculous level of hustle. A ridiculous level of hustle, right? So he's not the player that can take the ball, dribble 2-3 people, create the chance for himself. He's not that guy. He has never been, and I don't think he ever will be. Yeah? He's not as his attacking awareness is not at the level of Haaland.
No.
Haaland knows when to take off. A lot of people say Haaland's skill is finishing. No. Haaland knows when to take off and where to run to. And if you most likely give him a half-decent ball, he will get there. Osimhen, in this tournament only, has had too many offside decisions against him. I'm like, dude, you need to learn timing, when to run and where to run to.
Yeah.
It gets to a point I'm like, you shouldn't be offside there. You should know. It is not, you don't just start running. You need to look at who is giving you the pass. And maybe it's a problem with communication with the midfielders and stuff.
It's communication is the quality of the midfield as well. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
Like we don't have anyone that can pass you open.
Exactly.
So you have to get open and then they pass. And that's a problem with midfield.
So if he gets into a team that creates a boatload of chances, Osimhen will score goals.
So you're saying he won't score if he went to Chelsea? That's what you're saying.
This current Chelsea, yes. This current Chelsea, yes. And it's simple. Palmer wants to score. Sterling wants to score. They're not really interested in their
in feeding the nine.
Anybody, Boha, Jackson, whoever is in the middle, they're not interested. right? So that is my take on Osimhen, right? He said he has made up his mind. He knows where he's going. Something tells me he will most likely be Chelsea, right? And you can see him and Drogba hugging, and so I look at that. I'm like, we know what's going on, right?
But I was an Arsenal fan growing up.
Nah, look, everybody's an Arsenal fan in Nigeria because of Kanu. You know this
This is
already.
true. This is
Aha.
true.
So, Osimhen is most likely going to Chelsea. And how do I know? Check this out. Chelsea all of a sudden said they're willing to sell Broha for a ridiculous amount of money.
But that's crazy. That man has scored 1 goal. How is he worth, what is it? They want 50, 60 million for him? Like,
Absolutely. Yeah.
how?
But he's a young player. Prior to his Southampton days, he was doing well. He's quite skillful. Is
Scored
you
1 goal.
know,
He scored 1 goal. In KTR decides he wakes up one day and scores a hat trick. This man has scored 1 goal.
Akin, what's gonna happen
Yeah.
is a Saudi club will come in for Boha and pay that 60 something. All Chelsea wants to do is
Balance the books.
let's establish that it's fair value, right? And I mean, I think that's what's going to happen. If I'm wrong, I'm wrong.
You know what's crazy?
Yeah.
Haaland, the Man U one, not the Man City one, right?
Yeah.
Highland, however you say his name, right? When they paid however much they paid, it didn't bother me because I could see the talent. Like the talent is obvious. You know, like I'm like, okay, he will grow into his body, he will grow into the game, not a problem.
Yeah.
Ferguson at is it Brighton?
Yeah,
You know,
Ferguson, Evan. Yeah.
However much someone says come pay for this guy, I'm like, I could see it, you know, because he's 18. You know, I don't know if he's 19 now, but I can see it. This Broha kid, I don't see it.
So Boha at Southampton was quite decent, to be fair. I think the problem with Boha is quite injury prone, and it takes a long time for him to get back to the level he was pre-injury. Right? So he has this nagging knee issue. He has a terrible injury record. However, he's a decent player. I kind of like him. At Southampton, played in the Premier League. He was quite decent. He was very good. Yeah. But what Chelsea is trying to do is bid up that price, get the money so they can cater to Osimhen. Right? And if Osimhen is coming in, you know what Chelsea is going to do? They'll probably sign him to a 10-year contract now. Right? Which we'll talk about. We need to talk about that and the impact. The legal and an accounting standpoint.
Yeah, the money laundering aspect of it all.
Exactly. Yeah. So I think he's going to Chelsea. I think he's going to Chelsea. I see the way Arsenal plays. A lot of people just shout at Gabriel Jesus because he misses, sitters and stuff. But you all knew that before he came, didn't you? I'm surprised, right? His value.
Let me take a deep breath before I answer anything about Jesus, right? So number one, for some reason, so he's not a prolific scorer. He said it himself. It bothered me when he said it because I'm like, we all know it, but why are you saying it? He needs to decide who he wants to be because 2 years ago he was mad because Pep wouldn't play him at number 9. He didn't want to be a winger. And now 2 years later, you're like, I don't.
No, but he was mad. He was mad because you were playing people that were not.
That's true. No, that's fair. That's
right.
fair.
So if he's in Arsenal and you're benching him for Nketiah, I don't think he should have a problem.
That's fair. Now, his Champions League goal scoring record is fantastic. 1 and 2. 1 and 2, and he's better than a lot of strikers around the world. But in the Premier League, he's 1 and 3 for Arsenal.
Yeah.
Right. And then he takes like several vacations from scoring. He just goes like 12 games, can't find the back of the net.
Yeah.
But there's very few. Again, I mentioned at the beginning, Firmino. There's very few strikers in world football who can do that. That knitting together of, I don't know what to call it. It's not hold up play. It's
But but
playmaking.
but Aki is one of
Yeah,
two things. It is
yeah.
one of two things. Let's be fair,
Mhm.
right? It is either the team plays to your strength and
Yeah,
say all the chances we create are going to be for this guy,
yeah,
which is the case for Haaland, which
yeah,
is why, if you notice, in some games where, what's his name? This English guy, Grealish.
yeah,
Grealish
yeah,
starts
yeah.
playing with leg
Grealish.
over,
Yeah.
Pep takes him off. Pep is saying, feed the beast. What the hell are you doing, man? I don't need you to be doing 50, 20 leg overs, right? Feed the beast. If that is your
Mm,
style of play, we know that is your style of play. Arsenal's style of play is not to feed the beast. See,
mm.
the beast in Arsenal is the front three.
Yes.
It is those three guys that are going to share the goals. That is how Arsenal play, which is
And
why
you were
yeah,
right.
exactly. Nketiah looks like a fish out of water in most games. They are forcing him to play the way Jesus plays.
Yeah, because Nketiah needs to go to West Ham or somewhere else where
Nketiah is the
they're a little more
cross zone,
direct. Yeah.
cross player tapping. That's what he is, right?
So
It is Ateta that is trying to mold him into an all action type of
nah,
center.
you can't do it. You can't do it. You can't even lay a simple pass. That's not what he does. So but to kind of follow up on your point though. So I'm looking at last year's table.
Mm-hmm.
With I don't know how many goals Allen scored,
Mm-hmm.
but City only scored 6 more goals than Arsenal
Yep.
last year. 94 to 88. And
Yep.
then they consider 10 fewer. You can argue Arsenal didn't win the league because of their defense. It
Yep.
goes back to that goals difference again, plus
Yep.
15.
Mm-hmm.
City had plus 15 over Arsenal, but they only
Yeah.
scored 6 more goals. So and they have the biggest beast in world football. They only scored 94 goals. Arsenal scored 88, and
Exactly.
I don't think anyone at Arsenal scored more than 15 in the league.
Yeah. Kind of. Nobody scored 20.
No, I don't think anyone scored more than in the league. But
Yeah, in the league.
I don't think so. So
And the goals were shared across board. That is the
yeah,
way Arsenal play. It's different from City.
yeah. City
It's
used to play that way.
Yeah,
City
yeah,
used to play that way.
but once they got
Yeah,
Haaland,
they
it is
changed
either you
everything.
fit with the program or you get out of the door, or you sit on the bench.
So that's a good segue to I have a so this might be controversial. I don't think Arsenal needs a 30 goal a season striker. Me personally. We need to decide who we are and then go get a striker that does what we do. So for example, if you tell me you're getting another Jesus, and who is another Jesus? Watkins from Villa.
I like Watkins.
They're the same player, in my opinion. So, but if
And
you
my
tell me you're
Jesus
getting
might be a little bit more skillful than he is, but
yeah,
yeah, but
yeah.
Watkins,
So
yeah.
if you get me a healthier version of Jesus, I think we get back to where we were before. A guy who scores 15 to 20 goals, I think can win the league. Firmino never even scored 10, a
Exactly,
season,
exactly,
and Liverpool won.
exactly. So for me, Ivan Tony is a no-no. Victor Osimhen is a no-no, right? Because the reason why Tony is because of the way Brentford plays.
Yeah,
Arsenal does not play like Brentford.
no, they don't.
They don't. They don't. That's the honest truth. Are you now going to change your whole style of play to fit Tony or Nosime? I don't necessarily think so. However, I agree that you need that tall physical presence at times
How
just
about
to.
Kai Havertz? You already have him. Why don't you play him at the 9 once in a while?
Yeah, but if you ask me, I think the best version of Kai Havertz is what Ateta is trying to get to, which is where he played at Bayern Leverkusen, which is where he's currently playing for Arsenal.
Yeah, yeah.
Right? It's just that the young man is lacking confidence. Chelsea bit the confidence out of him.
Mm.
Yeah? He's lost a whole lot of confidence. If he gets it back, there's a player in there, in that midfield position. He's not the robust midfielder that will carry the ball, do
Yeah.
X, Y, Z. No, but he's decent.
But
Frankly.
but don't Arsenal have to decide what problem we're trying to solve? Because
Yeah.
I think our biggest problem is the Saka, right? You can't give him a break because the coach doesn't trust anyone behind him. I actually agree with a lot of commentators who say Pedro Neto should be our number one target, not a number 9. But Pedro Neto is always injured. That's a problem. But when you watch him play, it's just like, oh my God. So my thing is, Jesus can play very comfortably on the right.
Yep.
So play Kai Havertz through the middle in some games.
Mm-hmm.
Sit Saka or even leave him at home. Don't even make him an option off the bench, right?
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Jesus on the right, Kai
Mm-hmm.
Havertz in the middle.
Mm-hmm.
Put literally anybody. I mean, ESR at this point should be able to play, right? Let him play the. That's how you rotate. You got to use your. There's some games that Diaz doesn't start for City. There's some games that Stones doesn't start for City.
Yep.
Because that this man Pep says I have 5 center backs. Some games he just won't play, but Walker plays every game, right?
Yeah.
At some point, Walker would break down because it's 33 or 34,
but he
whatever.
plays this other. What's this other young son?
Nico, somebody.
Yeah. The young guy that plays. He comes in for Walker from time to time.
Yeah.
Right, and even John Stone sometimes plays right back.
We'll play on the right. Yeah.
And I totally agree with you. But there's a name that I'm going to throw into the hat.
All right, go for it.
And I think, well, I know a couple of people might disagree with me, but what's happening to Tammy Abraham?
I think was it an ACL? I don't think it's coming back until maybe March at the earliest. Right. Yeah.
Tammy Abraham is a better fit for Arsenal
than Tony.
Yeah, and than Victor Osimhen.
I would agree.
You want the height. You want someone that can be a focal point, that can knock the ball. He can do that. And where you need to play bring the ball on the ground and play football, he can do that. He's quite fleet-footed. He has a chip on his shoulder because Chelsea did him bad. He was quite decent for Chelsea. I was surprised they sold him.
Yeah.
He's better than Nicholas Jackson.
And England did him bad. He should have played for Nigeria, but that's We'll do another episode.
We've done another episode of the players that England are about to mess up their careers.
Yeah. Eberechi Eze. When you told me that yesterday, I was just, I'm like, oh my God, why? Why are you doing this to yourself? Yeah. You're not even at a big club yet, and you've already let England.
Exactly.
England mess you up.
You've gone to play for England. Anyway, so I think Tammy Abraham is an option for Arsenal, right? Okay. He's not going to cost £100 million like Tony. Tony is not. There's no universe, right? Even if Thanos snapped the rest of the whole world, there is no way you should be paying £100 million.
It's 28 years old. Why are you paying $100 million for him?
And this guy scored boatload of penalty kicks. So when people keep saying, when you're talking about strikers, take out the penalty goals. You shouldn't bring in the penalty goals into the.
I agree. So for me, I would say something. I think, what's the name of the guy that used to play for Southampton, the dead ball specialist? Is now with. Yes. So Tony is the James Ward-Prowse of strikers. You know what I mean? He's a specialist guy who does one thing well. A lot of what he does it from a standing start, if that makes sense. He doesn't do things on the run. I don't know if you ever noticed. So a lot of what he does is literally standing when he's doing it. So there's not a lot of motion around him. So he relies on people moving, and he just stands still. And I don't remember the last time Arsenal played that way. You know what I mean? Like I don't even know if he's athletic, because I don't see him doing athletic things.
For his height and for his size, he actually is, right?
Yeah.
But I'm just saying, it's not a good fit. I don't know how.
Did you watch his first game back?
I watched the game. I watched the game.
There was one of the goals where he was like 15 yards behind the play. You know, and it just gave me a lot of Lacazette.
Exactly. And this is what happens. So the way Brentford play, once they fit the ball into him, Wissa and Mbuemo, they run,
yeah. And then he distributes to them. Yeah.
And if they're not doing that, he's the focal point, pull outs, he can nod
Yeah.
in, and he's like a fox in the box kind of,
Yeah.
so they
Yeah.
can
Yeah.
put in wicked balls. How many wicked balls do you see Saka play? How many wicked
Yeah.
balls do you see Martinelli play in a game?
Yeah.
They don't.
Yeah.
They don't. These are people, Martinelli and Saka will look to score first than assist, right? So that means you need to have a dynamic, skillful, ball holding,
Like Jesus.
like Jesus. But you just need, if Jesus had been a few inches taller and was a bit more clinical, he would have
Yeah.
been
Yeah.
perfect.
Yeah.
He
Yeah.
would have been perfect. But
It's the lack of goal scoring that's the problem from Jesus. But again, I keep thinking about it. I feel like Arsenal fans always find a way to make excuses for what's happening. Liverpool won the league and probably should have won another with Roberto Firmino as the number 9.
yeah,
And he was never as clinical as Jesus.
yep,
Probably not as skilled, if we're being honest.
yep,
Yeah, probably
yep.
not as skilled.
Mm-hmm.
But the system worked. The problem is Salah then was better than what Saka
Saka
is now,
is,
and
and Mane
Mane
is
was better than
better
Martinelli,
than Martinelli.
and and it's that simple.
That is the gospel truth.
It's that simple. So Saka needs to get better. Martinelli needs to get better.
Exactly.
That's it.
And we had this discussion before where you
Yep.
said Martinelli or Son at Spurs,
Mm.
right? And
Yeah.
I'm like, Martinelli, Son is what I would love Martinelli to be
To
eventually.
become. Yeah.
But I won't take Son right now because he's way older than Martinelli, right?
Mm.
So it's the same thing with Saka and Salah. We want Saka to become Salah, right?
Yeah.
But it's still, the gap is still massive.
Bruh, there was a game, man. I wish I remember. I think you and I may have texted about this. And there was a on the move assist that Salah made. And I'm like, Saka in a million years could never.
It couldn't, it can't.
It was just, I'm like, okay, this guy doesn't track back. He's never played defense in his life, but oh my God, like the assist was ridiculous. And I'm like, man, there's still levels to where Saka needs to get to.
And levels. I love him. He is arguably Arsenal's best player,
I think he
right?
is. It's the most important.
Is the most important. Yeah.
Yeah.
Then him, Saliba, right?
Yeah. Rice may be our best player. I don't know. Because
Yeah.
yeah.
But Saka, there are levels to this thing.
Yeah.
Right? And I said, and someone said I was being difficult, that, Ian Robin doesn't have a right leg. I said, if Saka's right foot, if he invests time in his right foot, it will open doors for his left foot.
I agree.
Because right now, all they do is just double mark him and don't let him cut in. Henry confuses defenders because you don't know which way he will go.
And you don't know where he's going to pop up and what he's going to do. Yeah.
But Saka is always looking to cut in.
Yeah.
The byline is always there, and he hardly takes it.
So, all right, let's talk about that. How do you solve that? Do you move him to the left so he can hug the byline if that's what he wants?
No, in training, if I were to be Arteta, in training, I'll tell him, you take whatever the defender gives you because you know they're going to double mark you. So once you get the ball, once you control, take whatever the defender is giving you and you can then adjust as you go. So if he gives you the byline, take the byline.
He's also not a great passer.
Yeah, he's not.
And again, like it's look, you know how much I love the kid, right? But Arsenal, you can't talk to an Arsenal fan about the deficiencies in Saka's game, right? Because then you become the enemy. But I think it's okay. It's okay at 22 to still have, levels to go.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So, and I'm like, look, we have to do our job, right? So I think about what I say about other people. Like Bill, for example. I was never a fan. I'm like, I've never seen Bale do like a combination play where, hey, I'm looking at you, I'm gonna pass the ball to you, I'm gonna run, you're gonna give it back to me, I might give it back. That's not him, and I'm worried that Martinelli is trending that same way. Martinelli cannot lift up his head and play ball. You know what I mean? When he's playing, his head is down. He goes one way. It's all very predictable. Saka doesn't have the speed of Martinelli, so that's almost a blessing because then he doesn't have the same problem of I'm just gonna turn on the jets and then whatever happens happens. So he has a little bit more football brain, but at the same time, like he doesn't have the passing skills of a Odegaard, for example. But that's
Exactly.
something you can develop.
Yeah, that's something you can develop. And if you notice, going back to my point on byline, Martinelli is more dangerous than Saka
Yeah, it
because
is.
Martinelli knows that yes, I'm right-footed, but if this defender gives me this byline, I will take it. When I
Mhm.
get there, then the decision making comes in, and it doesn't necessarily make the best choice. But at least it gets to that byline, and that was on. So once you get to the byline, you can cut the defender, cut back to your right leg, or
Mhm.
you can even drive into the box, look for a penalty. Or we don't. How many penalties does Arsenal get? None.
Because
Think
they keep
about it.
dancing
How many
around
penalties
and
do we get? It's always most of the penalties is in Ketia,
yeah, it's so true.
which is
But
ridiculous
here's
for a player like Saka. And it's because when Saka gets the ball, he wants to
mm,
cut in. If he can't cut in, he passes back to Ben White. Or he
but
passes.
here's how good this kid is, right? Because I think we can both agree he's having the worst year of his career. I think,
Yep,
yeah,
yep.
just yeah, by a lot.
But that's even by
Uh,
your eye test. The
but
numbers
I
don't.
test, I
Yeah,
test.
yeah.
He's appeared in 20. I'm looking at this. This is not off the dome.
Mm-hmm.
He's appeared in 28 games for Arsenal this season. He scored 9 goals. That's the most of anyone at Arsenal. I think he
Mm-hmm.
has the most assists as well.
Yeah,
I don't have the assist numbers here, and
yeah,
he's having the worst season of his career.
yeah.
You
But
know,
you see, the
so
assist is not going to Gabriel Jesus. Most of them.
yeah, no, then you're right because
You-
guess what? Jesus is not where a number 9 should be. When
Exactly.
Saka,
Exactly. So the people that are in that position is Kai Havertz,
yeah,
the Belgian Leandro Trossard,
trust that,
or
yeah,
Martinelli.
yeah.
Or
Yeah.
Martinelli.
So
And
would you play
Saka is on
Martinelli
corner kicks, so some of those assists too are coming from corner kicks.
Would you play Martinelli centrally?
Nope.
So why not?
Nah, not yet.
Why not? Why
Not
not?
yet. So see, the pass, let's go to the game, the Seville game,
Okay.
Champions League away to Seville.
Yeah.
That move by Gabriel Jesus and the pass,
Yeah.
Martinelli, he's he like you said, Martinelli his head is always down, and
Yeah.
is you need someone that is looking to create, that has an eye for the pass. You
Mhm.
know, he's best in that wing. Let him continue to learn and marinate on that wing, right? It is not every winger that can translate into a center
No,
forward.
that's real. That's real.
So your physical, you have to be strong, right? Martinelli is still lightweight. Henri
Mhm.
was a specimen. He was a
Yeah.
physical specimen. People forget that. Gabriel Jesus is stocky. You can't
Yeah,
just
yeah. It's
push from
short, but it's
before.
really strong. Yeah.
Right. Saka will make a better center. I know a lot of people will
So I've thought
crucify him
about
for
this a
this.
lot. I've thought about this a lot. I'm always thinking about all the many places I want to play this kid, Bukayo Saka. I think it
Yeah,
could be if we still play the number 10, I think it could develop into a great number 10, but we don't play
absolutely.
number 10 anymore.
Or even
And I've
this
been
Kai
thinking,
Havertz position that you're looking to fill, right?
yes,
Saka can evolve into that position.
yes, and he can play a false 9. I
He can
always
play,
thought he could play a false 9.
he can
Yeah.
because that boy is strong. He is strong. He can shield the ball, and he can learn to play in that position. But Martinelli, nah.
Yeah.
You see, you might be playing a lower level team and put him there. Yes, he'll do the same
Yeah.
job. But you can't play top team and put him there. Nah, is not yet.
All right.
Not
How
yet.
long have we gone on for? We've gone on for quite a bit.
We're
We
gonna
should probably we should
part of
probably wrap.
part of the teething problem of the pilot episodes.
Yeah. So we on our list we have the VRL discussion. I
We can
think
push
that will
that. We
have to
can
be
push
an
that next
episode.
week. Yeah.
And then, is there any other thing you want to talk about that we haven't addressed?
Um. I'm still kind of angry that Lamar is out.
Okay, so for our listeners who don't watch the NFL, that's the quarterback of the Baltimore Ravens,
Yep,
Lamar Jackson, and he just lost to, well, the Ravens just lost to the Kansas City Chiefs,
yep.
and they lost at home,
At
and they've
home.
been the best team in the league this year.
Yeah,
Uh, yeah, they made that very clear when they went to San Francisco and beat
but
up
they
on the
lost
Niners.
this game. They lost this game. There are three particular incidences, uh, or strategic incidents that happened here. That, yeah,
Yeah,
the fumble, the touchback,
yeah,
uh, the
with
foul.
Zay Flowers, who I really
Was,
like.
yeah, it was A Flowers.
Yeah.
The foul, right? I think that was ridiculous by the ref.
No, there was two. There was two back
There's
to
two of them.
back. Yeah,
Yeah,
back to back, 15 yards, 15 yards.
yeah, 15 yards. The one where
Unnecessary
the
roughness.
defender hit him on the that's a foul. But the
Yeah,
one
yeah.
where it was between Kelsey
Kelsey said something,
and
and then a second guy
come on,
came up. Yeah,
that's not a foul. That's not a
yeah.
foul. Yeah. But anyway, I think Ravens lost this. I mean, the score was 17-10 at the end of the day. All you needed was a touchdown to take it to overtime, and they just couldn't. They
They
couldn't
couldn't
make it
do
work.
anything.
They couldn't do
I
anything.
think they lost it. Well, I think the Chiefs won it on that long drive, over 9 minutes.
Yeah.
In the I think that was the second quarter. They just ate up that clock, and Lamar was just cold after that.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
once you sit your opponent's biggest weapon for what
For that long.
9+ minutes, there was
Yeah.
just but you know what everyone is gonna say tomorrow. It's not a natural passer. All of this. Never mind that he's led the NFL in passing touchdowns before 4 years
Yeah.
ago.
Yeah.
The problem is he defaulted to the stereotypical behavior today.
He should
Um,
have run the ball a lot more. I
yeah,
agree.
that's what people will say tomorrow.
Yeah.
That
We know the headlines already.
Yeah, we know what the headlines will look
And
like. So that
people will forget that the Kansas City Chiefs, they have the second best defense, right?
yeah,
And although their offense might not have been at the top
yeah,
level during the season, we're
still
still
have Kelsey,
talking
still
about
have Kelsey.
arguably the best quarterback of all time and
Yeah,
the
yeah,
best
yeah.
tight end of all
Of
time.
all time. Yeah, yeah.
Everybody knows the ball is going to Kelsey.
And you can't stop it.
You can't stop it.
And then Pacheco comes in and scores a touchdown in seven
And then
straight
scores a
games.
touchdown. Yeah.
Yeah,
Anyway,
you definitely don't expect that. Pacheco wasn't part of the solution at the beginning of the season, and then
it
he turns it on
wasn't.
at the end.
It
You
wasn't.
know,
It wasn't.
that's a tough one. But
That's a tough one. Anyway, I think that's it for
should we
AOB.
wrap?
That's what's on my mind at this moment in terms of AOB. Yeah,
Yeah, this was good.
it's good. Good.
That's
So next week I think we're going to talk about VAR. So just give
okay.
people like
Let's
a
start.
preview
Let's start with VAR and then do
on
a wrap up on AFCON.
the
When is
AFCON.
the final? Is it next Sunday?
Nah.
It's not. Okay.
The quarterfinal is on Friday actually.
Okay.
So the final is still far off.
All right. So we have 2 more
I
weeks of
might,
AFCON.
I might actually go for the quarterfinal.
Oh, good for you. I would
I
not be
might.
going for the quarterfinal, but
Because
maybe
that's
you
what
can
I'm
do.
sure Nigeria will play. I'm not. Oh, I want to go for semi-final. I'm not sure we'll be there.
I know, right? So maybe
Let
you
me
can
just.
do a video from the stadium for
Yeah,
our
yeah, yeah.
soon to be christened and named YouTube channel.
YouTube channel. Yeah.
All right. Thank you, everybody. Thank you,
All
Inka.
right,
This was fun.
guys. We'll see you all next week.
Yep.
Okay.
We'll talk soon. All right. Take
Bye.
care. Bye.
So I'll stop recording now. Oops. No.